Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. And whenever you are tuning into this video, my name is James Porcelli, and welcome to another edition of Ruthless Talk. Man, what a weekend. What a freaking weekend it has been. What a WrestleMania weekend it has been. WrestleMania is over. Me and Brian did night one yesterday. Night two was last night. And here we are. We're going to talk about WrestleMania Night 2 in another edition. As you can see, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So there is a lot to go over. There is a lot to discuss. As you can see, and as you can tell if you are watching this on YouTube, Brian Thomas is not with me for this episode, but he will be here on Thursday. He will be talking about WrestleMania Night 2 in our cold open, whether it takes some 10, 15, 20, fuck it, freaking 30 freaking minutes. It don't freaking matter. I'm going to give him the floor. I'm going to kick my feet up and I'm going to let him have the floor. But until then, your boy's got a lot to say and a lot to talk about. However, before I get this review started, this pay-per-view review started, I could not do this alone for this episode. So I want to introduce you guys to a very loyal member of this Ruthless Talk community. He has been a listener. He has been a follower for quite some time now. And as you guys know, for all those lovely members and listeners that listen to our platform, I'd love to give you guys that love straight back to you and being a part of this episode, being a part of this show. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and it is my privilege to introduce to you my man, Carl Johnson. Carl, welcome to the show, my man. Thank you so much for your time. Welcome to Ruthless Talk, man. How are you, man? It is good to see you, bro.
I'm great, brother. Thank you for having me so much. I've been a huge fan of the show for over a year now, to let everyone know. I love the podcast. I love how the title you have it, just alone, Ruthless Talk, just feels like, to me, as me being a fan and watching the show, I feel like, man, there's got to be a platform besides anyone else that I know and having their podcast or anything else to let me able to let things fly by my own opinion or anything else that people like. And there's a lot of things that people don't like to hear from me about that, but I'm just going to say it because as a wrestling critic, and I don't care what anyone says, because I was born in 1993 and I've been watching wrestling since 96 at the age of 3 years old. So anything that's just critical to me, that's just me as a wrestling fan, I point out everyone's goods, bads, and ugly, like we're speaking about. If anyone's done any flops, anyone that's bad on the microphone, good on the microphone, great in the ring, not great in the ring, I speak about it all. And sometimes, of course, anyone's going to throw their opinions out there and say what they want to say, but I don't care because I love it too, because I know that person is a fan just as much as I am. I watch everything from ROH since I was a teenager, to TNA, to WWE, to WCW, NWO, you name it. I have plenty of crazy things of cards, t-shirts, figurines, things by so many wrestlers I have from back in the days, video games, and I'm just an all-around fan. I'm glad to be here on the show.
I will put a link in the description as he follows us on Instagram. So I will put his Instagram in the description box down below for you guys to follow him and check him out. Again, he is a wonderful member of our community, so make sure you guys go check him out on social media.
Also, another thing, if you want to throw out to anybody else, like I got to mention to you, I am going to SummerSlam here in my hometown. So if anybody wants to know details or anything about what's going on or anything, just be able to hit me up. Of course, during SummerSlam, I'm going to be going live, doing things like that, taking pictures, photos. So everything's going to be up from there.
Well, yeah, man. Freaking hell yeah. Freaking have a good time, man. I'm sure that place is going to be jam-packed. It's going to be rocking stuff for SummerSlam. But hey, SummerSlam, that's in August. That's in July, man. We got WrestleMania to freaking talk about. So night one, man, was pretty darn consistent. It was very good. It was very consistent. And usually the trend over the last 3 to 4 years is that night two just doesn't follow suit. It happened last year. It happened at WrestleMania 38, and it happened at WrestleMania 30. It's been this ongoing trend. However, is this the year where all of that changes to where night two follows suit with night one? Well, we're going to find out in this review. So before we get into this matchups, allow me to demonstrate the rules of this good, the bad, and the ugly review. So for each match is going to get at least one tally. For every tally that goes into the ugly column, that will be crossed off into two bads. So we'll go into two bads into that bad column once we tally up to this final review. If anything is great, right? Anything is great into this freaking show, I will give 2 goods in that good column for this review. Once we finish up tallying up all the matches, we will determine and tally everything up whether this show was a good or bad PLE. It is that straightforward. It is that simple. So without further ado, let's jump straight into this menace. There is no time to waste. Once again, night 1 was good. It was consistent. But now it's WrestleMania night 2. Now it's night 2's time to shine. Did they? Let's freaking find out, shall we? So WrestleMania night 2, live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in Lincoln Financial Field. Stephanie McMahon started off the show. So she's trying to hype up the crowd. It was very interesting to see Stephanie McMahon there. We haven't really seen her pretty much since she took her ball and left after what's been transpiring with Vince McMahon and these lawsuits and everything. So it was definitely a step back to see her, but it was good to see Stephanie McMahon. Of course, you know, the start of WrestleMania, she's trying to hype up the crowd and everything. So much love to Stephanie McMahon. Now we get into our first matchup. The first matchup of the night was for the World Heavyweight Championship. This was your champion, Sethington Rollins, versus Drew McIntyre, your challenger. Match time and length, guys, was only 11 minutes. 11 minutes in length was this match. Of course, you have CM Punk that was on commentary for this match. Now, I've stated before, this is pretty much a rematch. I really don't need to see. There's really not anything else I need to see between these two, but Punk does add that little bit of interest on commentary, so you know something was bound to happen. So the start of this match, man, frickin' Drew McIntyre nails a Claymore within 3 seconds. And I'm thinking, bro, like, there's no way that they're just going to let Seth Rollins just lose flat on his back in 8 seconds. Not with Punk on commentary. So, like, at first I got caught off guard, but then frickin', of course, Seth Rollins kicks out. Frickin' Drew McIntyre hits another Claymore. Frickin' Seth Rollins kicks out. A bunch of power moves. A lot of stuff was happening into this match. Frickin' Seth hits a pedigree later on into this match. Frickin' Drew McIntyre hit another Claymore, but didn't really get all of it, and Seth Rollins kicks out. Drew McIntyre hits the third Claymore. Seth kicks out. Of course, he's interacting with Punk, of course, at commentary, so there's a little bit of interaction there. You know, frickin' Drew McIntyre is more focused on Punk than he is with Seth. Of course, Seth's kind of like also selling his injuries as well after the match he had frickin' the night before in the Bloodline tag match. And then frickin' Seth Rollins, so he's like slow to get up. Drew McIntyre's in distraught after the third Claymore. He's like, what the fuck do I got to do to put this dude away? Finally, Seth Rollins slowly gets up. He's begging for more. Drew hits that fourth and final Claymore, and Drew McIntyre pins Seth Rollins for the 1, 2, 3, and we have a new World Heavyweight Champion. At least so we thought. Yeah. And then after the match, now if I'm Drew, I'm just like, okay, dude, you won the match, just freaking go. Take that world title, like act like you freaking just robbed a bank in Philadelphia and just fucking hightail it. This dude sticks around and acts like that there's not a guy backstage with a fucking briefcase backstage, you know, mingling around CM Punk, taunting CM Punk. And, you know, and I'm sure a lot of people are thinking this is kind of just, you know, to let things breathe between Punk and Drew McIntyre to kind of like really, you know, escalate this future feud that's about to happen in the summer for the most part. You know, frickin' Drew McIntyre is up on the table. He's just taunting frickin' CM Punk in the commentary chair. He does the frickin' DX frickin' suck it crotch or whatever. And then CM Punk takes frickin' Drew out. He frickin' sweeps his legs. He takes him out on the table. He takes off his cast that he's got his injured tricep on. He takes that cast. He hits it over the head of Drew McIntyre with it. He frickin' also blows a kiss to frickin' Drew McIntyre's family. Even during the match, too, this was hilarious. He tweets out, like, bored at work as he's in the middle of the match. That was frickin' great. It was absolutely awesome. So Punk takes out Drew McIntyre, and all of a sudden, Damian Priest music hits. And I'm thinking, oh, my fucking God, they're about to do this, aren't they? Damian Priest runs down like he's Ultimate Warrior. He slams the freaking briefcase into Drew McIntyre's face. At this point, Punk is sitting cross-legged on the commentary table. Damian Priest, he officially cashes in that contract. The bell rings. He hits him with the South of Heaven chokeslam. Damian Priest pins Drew McIntyre for the 1, 2, 3. And for the second straight time, we have a new World Heavyweight Champion, which is Damian Priest. CM Punk, all he can do is laugh up on the announce table, and Damian Priest is on top of the world with the World Heavyweight Championship, and that is how we start WrestleMania Night 2. Before I give my thoughts and my tallies, Carl, I'll have you start off this, man. Just your honest take and your thoughts about this matchup between Drew and Seth, and your thoughts, man, on Damian Priest cashing in and becoming the new world champion.
Oh man, brother. First thing I really want to say to you, I like your takes on everything and everything you're just saying, of course, right now. The whole thing about the whole subject of this match. But while you're talking to it about it, I like 10 minutes into you explaining everything to me about it, I stopped and I thought about, of course, as you being a fan and me being a fan, I could take everybody back to that time, and of course you can too, to with me, if you could bear with me, hitting a couple details in there for me while I'm saying this. It kind of took me back to the moment between Sheamus and Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania when he hit that low kick and he went for that 3 count, 1, 2, 3 so quickly. And I imagine when I was watching the match, like, wow, that could have just easily happened to you, like how it happened to Daniel Bryan, with you being distracted and everything that's going on so much in the match. Are clear, and you thinking about Punk and you're not focused on you getting the title. Another thing that I wanted to point out about what you were saying, just like another person to me pointed out as well, is it I didn't know where Seth was going with that entrance. Someone pointed out to me kind of like a New Orleans feel to it when he had the people out there like that with him. And it kind of did got the New Orleans Mardi Gras feel to it when he was doing that. But I don't know where he was going with that angle. I think completely it was hilarious with him going on Twitter and saying, I'm bored at work. I instantly seen that, like, wow, no, he didn't really just do that. And it actually posted. I was flabbergasted, completely flabbergasted. And I'm like, wow, okay, well, he's going to win this match. And lo and behold, he did. But at the same token, I'm always thinking, like, man, of course, you have this guy, Damian Priest, has been holding this briefcase for so long. And my brother Pim pointed out to me himself. My brother doesn't watch it. He does watch it a whole lot with me, but not too much. But he's like, my brother watches it long enough to tell me that he's like, dude, Damian Priest has been holding on to that suitcase a whole long time, and so has Seth with the title. So something's got to change, or something's gonna happen. I'm like, dude, Drew's gonna win. And lo and behold, Drew wins. And I'm thinking the same thing, like you said, dude, you should have left out of there while you had the chance. But instead, you want to pump up Punk, which is someone that doesn't quite take things very lightly of that when you want to rub it in his face. And he's going to take full advantage. And I knew that, like, I just can feel it. Like, oh, I think I know exactly. Of course, once he tripped his leg, I knew where the angle was going. I'm like, you know what? You just barked up the wrong tree, and now here comes Damian.
Yeah.
I expect.
It's funny you mentioned Daniel Bryan and Sheamus. That's honestly where my mind was racing to. But like with CM Punk on commentary, like there's no way they would just like cut Punk's commentary mic work on short just to have
I instantly thought in my head, no matter what about Punk's injury, you have to, of course, think about the number one thing. Dude, you have a professional wrestler out here doing commentary, just like you're a professional wrestler, and you think he's not going to do something about what you're doing right now, with the way you're taunting him right now? He's going to do something about it. And then a lot of things that I didn't even get to point out to anyone else, like of course, WrestleMania, how the timing and everything is. Well, I watched the pre-shows, of course, before they all started. And during the pre-show, while I watched CM Punk along with the rest of the legends like Booker T or JBL and chilling there with Big E Langston, he's got the brace off the whole entire time, bro. He's not showing too much of an injury to anybody there. He didn't put the brace on until he went outside to go and commentate on the match. The whole entire time during the pre-show, he did not have that brace on whatsoever. Night 1 and 2, he did not have that brace on whatsoever. He puts it on before he goes out there during the match. And then he uses it to McIntyre. I think he was, of course, planning on that and doing that the whole entire time. You know what? Let me just kind of be able to flake off and do something to where he doesn't expect it. And now I'm figuring, of course, yeah, they're gonna do a big, huge feud between him and CM Punk.
Yeah. No, I mean it's been evident. I mean, the way that Drew McIntyre has been not just selling WrestleMania, but has been selling this future feud with Punk, and he's been doing it freaking flawlessly. So you knew that they were going to tell somewhat of a story with Punk in this match, which is why I didn't really buy into that quick finish that we all thought was going to happen. I'm like, there's no freaking way. But I do like the little touch there because I mean, a lot of people fell for it. I mean, you heard it from the crowd in Philadelphia. So.
Here's the thing about that. There has been quite a few matches where McIntyre's done a Claymore like that, one or two, and he's in and he's out. I hate to say it. I'll give it to those top two guys for at least for Roman and Drew. During the pandemic era, I watched their matches completely so much the entire time. And there's been quite a few matches where he's done that to guys that I would like to see that he's doing that too, like to Andrade or Garza. He's done Claymore kicks to these guys twice and he's done.
Yeah.
Boom, he's out of there. Especially when he held the title during the pandemic era like that. He was. Did you? It kind of brought me to the moment when he faced the Big Show, and a lot of people overlooked that match for McIntyre after he beat Brock. Don't complete that same night he fought the Big Show, and then he got to be able to leave the building. He didn't get to even celebrate so much for a long time until Big Show came out there. And you see how that happened with that Claymore between him and the Big Show? It kind of brought me to that moment. So but I'm like, no, definitely. This is WrestleMania. Seth Rollins is going to try the best he can to come after that. And now he really intentionally, of course, after that Claymore, you definitely need to stay focused on what you were doing. But kind of dropped the ball there with doing everything with him and being focused on Punk. He should have just kept the title and just left. But hey.
Oh yeah, well that gets into my thoughts, man. Before as I dissect this, first of all, yeah, Drew, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Like you freaking take that title and you run with it like you just robbed the freaking bank. Again, all kidding aside here, but listen. Here are my overall thoughts about it, man. Obviously, I mean, Drew McIntyre, we all know that he was going to win this match. I mean, Seth Rollins, we knew that dude is banged up. The dude has multiple freaking injuries. He's also been selling these injuries. It's time for him to take his ball and to take some time off. We knew he was going to be taking some time off, and we knew he was going to lose this matchup, and it was just time for him to drop the title. But here's what I will say before I get into Damian Priest, because I have something to say about that. I do love the fact how this whole cash-in did set up Drew versus Punk very, very well.
Yeah.
But this is where I get into Damian Priest. Damian Priest being a world heavyweight champion makes no fucking sense at all. Because nobody has given a single shit about this guy with the freaking briefcase. Now, I get it. People were hyped about it because it's the nostalgia of the cash-in, right? They're like, oh my God, it's the shock factor. Like somebody's about to walk down and cash in their briefcase. It's the nostalgia, and you're going to be hyped about it in the moment. So I get it. And it set up Drew McIntyre and Punk very, very well. But man, it is a very risky thing to do to have Damian Priest, man, because the thing is, it's just the reason why I say it makes no sense is because he's just not there yet in regards to connecting with the crowd, right? He does a good job with Judgment Day, and he deserves his flowers for that. But now you're getting him to this world title freaking shtick, which I'll give it a chance, but it's just like LA Knight would have been a better freaking option in regard. That's why I've said it since day one about LA Knight. That would have been such a more meaningful and more authentic moment with LA Knight cashing in that championship with the crowd going fucking nuts. What they did freaking last night. And with Damian Priest, it's like it's Damian Priest. Like, let's not act like we've given a shit about this guy holding a briefcase for this fucking long. But listen, the moment was very memorable. People are probably going to go back and watch this cash-in, and people are going to be talking about this for a very long time with this cash-in. I mean, it's a cash-in at a WrestleMania event, so it's going to be talked about. It's going to be memorable. And look, they put the strap on Priest. They're putting the rocket on Priest and said, listen, I'm fine with it if that's the decision you want to do. But moving forward, man, you have to book this dude to the fucking moon. I'm not kidding. Like, you have to legit, enough of him just being another member of the faction. You have to start booking Damian Priest to the moon tonight. And I know Monday Night Raw, as we're recording this, is going on right now. Like, you cannot botch this dude's booking with that world title. Like, this can't be an Iyo Sky situation. As much as I love Iyo Sky, where we all love Iyo Sky and she has a championship, but there was really nothing memorable about that title reign. Bianca Belair, even holding on to that title for hundreds upon hundreds of days, wasn't really the best title reign for how it was booked. You can't do that now with Damian Priest. You can't. You've put all your chips into one basket with Damian Priest, and I'm telling you this right now, this could fucking easily fall flat on your face. For real. And that's really all I can say about it. But for Drew and Punk, some people say like, oh, Drew McIntyre deserves better than that. I'm not going to go that far because it did set up the feud with Punk very well, and how Drew McIntyre did lose the championship. It's just that with Priest, it's just like, oh yeah, you're shocked and you're excited. A cash-in just happened, but then you freaking come back to reality. You're like, oh, it's Damian Priest.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
He's called a bisexual freaking Undertaker. That's what I saw on freaking Twitter. It's like, that's the world champion. That's what we're calling Damian Priest. Like, you know what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah, no. It's crazy that you speak of that, because it gives me that image all the time when I've always seen Judgment Day's entrance alone, like the purple and the black, and it was like giving off, and then it's like you guys had Damian Priest at one moment where you guys trying to push him to the point where, because of rest in peace to him, to Scott Hall, because that's who he looks up to and one of the greatest wrestlers that he always liked, and you had him at that moment of trying to persuade him into that image of how he was, but then it's like, then you guys had him at the time of him and Bad Bunny, and that was like,
the Bad Bunny match was damn good, though. I will give Damian Priest the Bad Bunny match. That was a damn freaking match.
That was very great, and to do for the culture and everything. And then on top of that, I think they very succeeded well on them bringing Carlito into the back of the mix, because you see how things are going now with LWO and everything else or whatever one. So like, of them doing that kind of like brought, like, I guess like the Hispanic nation of the culture in the WWE, just like expanded that a little bit with them doing that. And then especially at the time of like towards the pandemic era too, coming like just behind it, but like then it's like you put them in Judgment Day, and it's like now it's like you guys want to set the light off of like I won't even say, like, to myself, like, as a fan, like I said it to myself, like explaining like how you just said it right now, like, oh yeah, of course, like I watched the pay-per-view like anyone else, I got excited, like, oh, it's a great cash-in, but then of course in the next 10 minutes I came back down to like, yo, like, what the fuck, this is Damian Priest. Am I getting that excited over Damian Priest? Like, I can't be trying to get excited over Damian Priest, knowing, like, to me, I hated that, and I always said it to myself, like, dude, like, you guys completely dropped the ball on LA Knight not grabbing that briefcase at Money in the Bank, and now you're stuck with Damian Priest to do this. Like, where are you guys going with this? Mm-hmm. If you're gonna have this briefcase on him, at least have it towards someone thinking like things that he doesn't belong. Because to me, it's like you guys had this happen, and to me, I still feel like, dude, like, you still need to be in the tag team division of you and Balor, because now that faces me to another point. What are you guys gonna do with Balor? Mm-hmm. No one's ever thought about that. You guys don't have tag team championships right now. What are you gonna do with Balor? What are you gonna do with Dom? Rhea has the title, of course, and retain her victory. Mm-hmm. You're all happy for Damian. This
is going to start the dissension of the Judgment Day. At least that's how it would be. Because right now, like, Rhea has, for the longest time now, has distanced herself from the Judgment Day. Me and Brian have spoken about that. Now you have Priest holding on to this world championship. If this is a new era, right? We're talking about a new era in professional wrestling. This is the Paul Levesque era that we're talking about. You need to start, like, tonight or at some point. You need to start planting seeds of Damian, because if Damian Priest is going to be world champion, I can't just look at this fucking dude as just another member of the Judgment Day. After what the Judgment Day has just done nonsensically with people like Cody Rhodes, people like Seth Rollins, and a bunch of other people that me and Brian have talked about, like, that's not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it at all. Like, if it's going to be a new era, make it feel like it's a new era, especially with Damian Priest, because now with a lot of people that's about to be put on the sidelines, people like Seth and people like Roman Reigns, Damian Priest is a guy that's going to have to freaking step up, along with this company, to book him the right way to make him feel like a freaking world champion. So before I have you finish off, Carl, I'm going to get to my tally here. Listen, as much as the match was very good. The match was very good. I got no complaints about the match. I got no complaints about freaking Drew McIntyre and Punk. I am really looking forward to seeing how that unfolds. I thought that was set up beautifully for the cash in itself. I was very tempted to put a bad in this in the column of Priest cashing in this briefcase, because again, it's just freaking Damian Priest, and it's just the fact that, like, when you come back to reality, Carl, like you said, it's just like the nostalgia of the cash in. Okay, it's great, but it's just Damian Priest, man. So, and again, it just doesn't make any sense for him being a champion, because you haven't booked him as such. He's just another member of a faction. He's not at the point to where LA Knight was freaking white hot. He's just not. He doesn't have that connection with a certain audience. So why put a world title on him? However, I thought about this long and hard, and for this match and for Priest cashing in the briefcase, that gets a good for me. I really wanted to put this into a bad, into an ugly. I really freaking did, but
yeah,
this was a memorable cash in. The crowd was hot for it. The crowd was hot for this match. They were hot with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, and this was a hot, fiery start that got a lot of people talking. And that's honestly what it comes down to at the end of the day. And listen, I'm going to give this shit a chance. If this is a new era, you need to start booking Damian Priest, right? You had your cute moment with the cash in, right? And it was great. And much love to Damian Priest. Damian Priest is great. He's a great dude. And I'm sure that moment meant a lot to him personally as a performer. And that's great. I always want what's best for these performers. But now you got to start really diving into Damian Priest, believing that he is an actual world champion and not just a member of this freaking Judgment Day faction. It's got to start right now.
It's got to me, definitely it's to start tonight. And yeah. I hate to completely cut you off about it, but I had to say this to myself so many times. But now, since you guys have this briefcase on Damian and had him cash in on the title like that, I hated to say it to so many people, because it may sound like it's so bad to me. I honestly think that night 2 was completely better than night 1. So night 2 would happen. You're going to have to capitalize off this so many times and so much right now, because now that you have the title in his hands, you're going to have to do something, of course, that everyone, of course, on the roster is going to pinpoint out. Since you have that title, now you're going to have to be a defending champion. And I won't be surprised if you're defending the title tonight if he has to anyone, or of course, everyone's going to want eventually there. Of course, everyone's going to want the rematch clause or anything. If they're still doing anything or anything like that or anything of such, I'm pretty sure down the line, I hate to say it, before we would get into diving into the things before of Seth and Punk, I'm pretty sure down the line, they're going to have one more match between Drew and Seth for the title. But
please fucking no. Please
not think it's gonna happen, but if it doesn't happen right now, I'm pretty sure they're gonna probably they're gonna plan to book it for Backlash.
For Seth Rollins, I don't think you're going to see Seth Rollins for a while, man. I think this dude's done. I think this dude's going to go on vacation along with Becky Lynch as well as along with Roman Reigns. I don't think you're going to see them for a while.
That's another point I was going to pinpoint out to you. Like, if not anything, if not going to happen to Seth, I think he's going to be chilling with his daughter, of course, with him and Becky, and just relax out for a moment and let things kind of tender on down, because you still have, of course, I mean, even though she had her loss, but Becky just came out with a new book recently. She's doing so much other things. I think they should just take a little time and go.
They will. Yeah, you won't see Seth Rollins much over the course of the next several months, as well as Becky Lynch and as well as Roman, and we're going to get to Roman later on in just a second. But let's get in. But let's
back in Seth too is just it's getting to him. So yeah, I can see that happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why he pretty much freaking took the bullet for Cody Rhodes, and again we'll talk about the main event later on, and that's why he pretty much lost the match the way the way he freaking did, as well as he looked at Drew McIntyre after the match. And I think he said something along the lines of like, you effing deserve it. So let's move on to this next matchup, man. So listen, so far, as much as I didn't like the freaking Priest cash in, I just don't think Damian Priest holding onto a world title makes any sense. But I will give Paul Levesque McMahon his credit in how he set up Drew and Punk. So far to start off night 2, that's going to get a good in that good combo. Let's move on into this next matchup, as we got a bunch of other matches to get through here. The next matchup on this card was the Philadelphia Street Fight. The Philadelphia Street Fight between the Pride, which is Bobby Lashley, and the Street Profits versus the Final Testament. You had Bubba Ray Dudley as your special guest commentator or special guest referee for this match. You had Snoop Dogg on on commentary for this match. So those two entities somewhat made this matchup entertaining for this match. And again, the crowd was hot for this match. I mean, it's a Philadelphia street fight. You did have Bubba Ray Dudley because, freaking Philadelphia, freaking ECW, Extreme. Y'all get the freaking picture with that. It took a while for the crowd to get into this matchup. Of course, freaking, weapons galore in this freaking matchup. Freaking B-Fab and Scarlett ended up getting physical into this match. I think they went through a freaking table in this match, which was some pretty cool spots here and there. So they set freaking Karrion Kross on the table, and the table just completely freaking breaks. So now you have to call a freaking audible, right? They call an audible. They do the whole freaking what up freaking thing with Dawkins on the top rope. Ford does his freaking from the heavens splash, I believe, anyway, onto Kross, and they cover Karrion Kross, and Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits win this match. I'll start with this, and I'll keep this short as we'll keep the ball rolling here. Look, I really did not like how this made Final Testament look at all. I mean, really, this match was entertaining for the most part. The crowd was somewhat hot into it. Freaking Snoop Dogg was freaking hilarious on commentary, so I got a freaking good gist of that. And look, I mean, Lashley and the Street Profits, I mean, I predicted that they were going to win this match, and they did. I just, I can tell right away that just Triple H and this company either are just not high on Kross at all. It sucks that we had such high hopes for this freaking faction, and they just feel just like another they weren't protected in this match at all.
Oh no,
it pisses me off, honestly, to a degree.
Yeah, me too. And because
the table spot was just like kind of just the low blow, or just like the ultimate blow. Of how things were,
especially in Philadelphia, home of ECW, was really making.
Exactly. So, but listen, that was the only main botch in this match, was that table spot. But the problem is it was the finishing touches of the match, which kind of makes it a little bit more salt in the wound. But look, man, I'll just give my tally in regards to it, man. As much as entertaining this match was, as much as the crowd was into it, as funny as Snoop Dogg was on freaking commentary, I went back and forth on this. I'm not going to give this an ugly. I would give it an ugly, but I'm not going to go that far. The match, for outside of the one botch, it wasn't really that ugly. So I'm torn on this, man, but I'm just going to give my tally, and then, Carl, I'll send this off to you. My tally for the street fight, man, between the Final Testament and Bobby Lashley, I'm going to put it into the good column. I just didn't see enough bad in this match, and I'm not going to just poke at one botch in this match and say that it was a bad match. I'm just not going to do that. Again, the crowd was into it. The other thing I would nitpick about this is just how Final Testament looked in this match for the most part, and it just did not make them look good at all, and it just did not sit well with me. But as a fair critic that I am, I have to put that personal feeling aside for this. So this was enough good to outweigh the bad of this matchup and this big mega botch of this match. So, Carl, I'll let you have the floor, man. Your thoughts about this Philadelphia street fight.
Okay. My first thoughts are, I'm actually glad they have it, by the way, because of in Philadelphia and from the home of ECW and the brotherly love, of course. My I have to tell people that anyone that's, of course, that know me and get to know me right now. One of my favorite, of course, growing up as a kid, my favorite foundations, of course, besides me watching WWF or WWE when I was always how I was all the time, I was always watching ECW, of course, my personal favorite. I had to say it was always that gritty, that grunge, and that music and everything that was so just authentic off the walls. Didn't care so much, everything from the promos down to every single match. ECW was always, of course, a classic favorite to me. And that table kind of box, it was getting to me for me being a fan of so much of extreme things like that, taking out tables, chairs, using ladders, kendo sticks. It was kind of getting to me like that. But then, yeah, it gave me an overall pretty good. It was a great match. And then me seeing like how I am and knowing go up in the 90s, it was great for me to see. But Bubba Ray is just ecstatic to me when he came out there to the ring and doing everything he's doing right now. Especially when put those glasses on, it just brought me back to freaking being 5 years old, dude. I'm like, oh my God, no, he did not pull the glasses out. And on top of that, of course, I hate to say, of course, but like, man, it's like 70% of the match has me laughing off of Snoop Dogg's commentary. Like, dude, are you kidding me? But I think at the moment for me thinking like that, a lot of people like I don't really like want to look back at it. I think they have Snoop Dogg involved with this and everything, and like with the commentary and everything else that he's still doing because of the Shane McMahon situation that happened between the Miz and Snoop Dogg being involved, you know. So I kind of think that they brought Snoop Dogg back in to have things like to kind of balance off of that from what happened. Because if like they wouldn't want to like throw people off of that, but I hope, of course, Shane McMahon's doing fine and his quads. But yeah, it wasn't that for that last year. But having Snoop Dogg this year was quite fun on the commentary on that match. And ECW has always been my favorite, to my heart to heart to me. So I'm pretty sure. I hope Paul Heyman, of course, was watching that match and him seeing Bubba Ray and things like that from them and having that friendship and connection together they always had. And I give it to that's a great match to me. And but what I really hate is about what you were just explaining about too. I'm gonna just give this as exclusive to you right now on your show to anyone else. There's a personal close friend of mine to me and my brother. He personally has Karrion Kross number. Like he is close friends with him like this. He was so literally this close before they made the New Testament to leaving to AEW. Yeah, like they text, call, talk to each other. Like he's a fan of Karrion Kross so much. And Karrion Kross didn't know where his career was leading to until this New Testament happened, to be honest. I'm just throwing that out there to exclusive to you on this show right here, right now. He was this close to leaving the AEW. And he was this close to leaving the AEW around October. But you know what? Of course, WWE, like they does everyone. Hey, here we have this. You have script storyline. We have this heading up, and Karrion Kross got hit with the shoot of, hey, we're gonna do the New Testament. We're gonna bring in, which is one of my greatest, of course, I love as a manager, Paul Ellering. They decided to bring him into the mix. You know, they say we're gonna do this. We're gonna bring AOP back. Boom, and it happened. New Testament is here. But he was this close to leaving to AEW along with Edge. He started seeing everything that happened with Edge.
I'll take your word for it. I mean, Karrion Kross has also has emphasized his frustrations about his booking as of late. I just don't think when it comes to Paul Levesque, Triple H, and this is why I give him such a hard time. Now, I'm going to give him a lot of praise towards the end of this review because I know a lot of people think that I just shit on Triple H just to shit on him. It's completely false. I give this dude praise when it's freaking valid, and I also shit on him when he freaking deserves to be freaking shit on. But when it comes to, like Karrion Kross and even for people like Bray Wyatt to a degree towards the end of that whole shtick, Audi and everything, it doesn't seem like Triple H knows how to book these supernatural smoke and mirror type characters. Now, you say he was going to go to AEW. I don't know if he would have been better off in AEW either, because Tony Khan has freaking proved that he doesn't know how to book Malachi Black. That's all been all smoke and mirrors for the past God knows how long. So I don't know if Karrion Kross would have been better off in freaking AEW anyway. But getting backtrack on this match, man, look, I'm not going to really remember anything most outside of maybe Snoop Dogg and maybe Bubba Ray in this match. But I'm not going to let one botch in this match dictate the entire at least entertaining spots in this match with people like Scarlett and B-Fab, as well as like the weapons that were used in this match, all the big moments in this match, as well as interaction with Cross and Bubba. Again, and the crowd was into it as well for the most part. I can't really go against that as well. So far, so good. I have legit, guys, so far two tallies in this good column. So as of right now, night 2 is off to a pretty solid, consistent start for the most part. Question is, can they continue this? Let us find out. As our next matchup is LA Knight, versus frickin' AJ Styles. The match time and length for this match was only 12 minutes, or 12 and a half minutes, I should say, is the amount of time that was given in this match. This really, nothing memorable or nothing much really happened in this match. This match, dare I say, was very underwhelming. Honestly, I said the same thing as well as about Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso freaking on Saturday night. This was just as underwhelming as this match. I seriously thought going into this was going to be one of the best matches, not just on the card, but for the entire weekend. And it was just a very underwhelming, but nothing bad about it. There was nothing bad about this match. There's nothing that I would say, oh, this was ugly or this was bad. This was just a decent match. But as LA Knight wins this match via the BFT onto AJ Styles. AJ Styles has got new theme music. It's the most generic fucking shit I've ever heard. Like this fucking company, right?
I couldn't wait to speak about this. It was so trash to me. I did not like AJ's entrance at all, one bit. I think they need to change the whole music. And then I go on Instagram. I see a comment from someone saying supposedly, I don't know if it's true. Like I'm saying, I don't want to speak on the fact of it, but they're telling me, and I hate to say it because he's been, of course, my whole childhood of these theme musics. But they're telling me that Jim Johnson's he's fired. I don't know if he is, but if he is, I don't know who's the creative and the motive behind the theme music for everyone. But I'm not liking it because, to honestly tell you, I didn't like Bayley's entrance either. And I love freaking Bayley. I did not like her entrance music that she has right now. And she spoke about it on the press conference too, by the way, after she got done with night 2. She spoke about her new entrance music, and I'm like, Bayley, damn, this is like the second time you're mentioning it, because you already mentioned it before the night happened of your main event, and then you mentioned it for the second time at the press conference. And I'm like, you're trying to really throw that out there to everybody that you have the new theme music and everything that's going on right now. But to me, it's kind of looking like AJ's. I don't like it. I'm not saying
Jim Johnson has been gone from the company since I want to say 2016, 17, and now they're using what's called like Def Rebel or something like that. That's like the type of shit. I mean, it's just generic as fuck.
No wonder I'm getting pissed about the music I'm hearing. Then that figures. I didn't know that. That's new information to me that you're telling me right now. Since 2016.
Yeah, 16, 17. Yeah, he's been gone. He's been gone from the company for a while now. So yeah, they're using what's called like Def Rebel or whatever that's been using that WWE has been using as for people's theme music for the last couple of years now. So yeah,
I should have expected that because before Randy Orton made his return, they tried to use "Burning in My Light" instead of Voices for his theme music, and I don't think that was going to go too pretty well, especially on the fact that before Randy even got that entrance music, CM Punk had it before.
Yeah.
So I don't like the creative music, but I don't care about the action. I really like, screw the music.
Yeah. Because the theme song is a different discussion for a different day. It's bad as it is, but going back to this match, man, listen, so I'm going to reveal my tallies. I won't waste any time here as I want to get the ball rolling, but I'm going to put this in the good column as well. Again, a match that, again, is nothing over the top, nothing that I'm going to really remember, but I can't put anything in this match that was consistently bad, as well as how this tension has risen between LA Knight and AJ Styles. They had the whole home invasion segment, which I thought was freaking beautiful. The last several weeks, it's made you slowly see, okay, I want to see these dudes beat the holy shit out of freaking one another over the last several weeks. And this was just a very underwhelming type of match for a lot of people. Again, I put it in the same category as freaking Jimmy and Jey Uso from night 1. However, and I can understand if people, if they were to tally this in a bad or dare I say an ugly column. I wouldn't go as far to say ugly, but I can hear what people would say in regards to this being a bad, just an underwhelming match. But just looking back at this match, I didn't see anything consistently bad. The right person won in LA Knight. He got his big freaking WrestleMania victory. LA Knight needed this win more. I understand AJ Styles hasn't been booked consistently the same way LA Knight has, but LA Knight right now is he's just that hot commodity right now, and he just needed that victory more. So, yeah, I got 3 goods in this good column as of right now, man. So
they're building him up to be able to try to become a champion.
I freaking hope so, man. Freaking your lips to God's ears, man. Listen, I don't even need LA Knight to hold on to a title right now. I just need good booking, man. That's all I freaking need with AJ stuff, with freaking LA Knight. And maybe now that changes with this new era that we're in. And I'll talk more about that later on. But so far, so good, man. Again, yeah, guys, your eyes are not deceiving you. I had legit freaking 8 goods in freaking night 1's good and the bad and the ugly. And now right out the freaking gate, I got freaking already 3. So far, so freaking good. As we go into this freaking next matchup, the next matchup we have is this triple threat match for the United States Championship. Your champion, Logan Paul. This was your champion, Logan Paul, versus Randall Keith Orton versus Kevin Owens. Now, I can't really stand triple threats, especially to this type of degree. The way that we've gotten up to this point with this triple threat, it just feels like that a lot more tension and a lot more of the hostility has been between Randy Orton and Logan Paul as of late. Yeah. However, because you've been seeing a lot of this like buddy type of relationship with KO and Randy Orton. And I'm going to be honest with you, bro, this was a really fun, entertaining shtick of a match. Now, they did the same thing with Kevin Owens, his entrance. They did the same thing with Sami Zayn night 1. They did the same thing with KO, how he's entering Gorilla. Sami Zayn, he's got his IC title that he won the night.
That was lovely. I love how they did that.
Yeah, absolutely. And they hyped him up saying, hey, now it's your turn now. He's walking through the curtain. And he brings out the golf cart, the same golf cart that he freaking tried to chase down freaking Logan Paul on freaking SmackDown. And then Randy Orton's music hits. And he freaking meets freaking Randy Orton to ride with him on the freaking golf cart on the way to the freaking ring. So the dynamic of this freaking, even though it's interesting and it's kind of weird, but it works in a way. It shockingly kind of works in this buddy type of relationship, and they're going after freaking Logan Paul. It's pretty much a 2-on-1 handicap match at the start of this freaking matchup. And bro, I can continue to give praise to Logan Paul where it's freaking due, because this is once again, man, a social media influencer. And this dude is out here hanging with the best and with freaking people like Orton and people like Kevin Owens. Logan Paul has done such a tremendous job, and I just want to get that out the way with that. But this was a very entertaining match, man. You had freaking Logan Paul on a freaking giant Prime truck, and he's got this Prime cannon. He's shooting freaking the fireworks and shit, or freaking pyro. He has the freaking the mascot, the Prime mascot, which ended up being I Show Speed, who's a freaking YouTuber. He ended up freaking, going face to face with freaking Orton. And Orton and Kevin Owens earlier on, they ended up exchanging blows. They're like, oh shit, this is a triple threat. All right, should we just freaking fight now? All right, let's just freaking do it. And they just went off. Logan Paul did have one missed time spot in this match. I believe it was the buckshot lariat, where I think he kind of mistimed it. Outside of that, man, Logan Paul was tremendous in this match. So freaking the Prime mascot ended up being I Show Speed. If you guys don't know who that is, he's pretty much another freaking YouTuber, just like his Logan Paul's buddy KSI, he's partnered with Prime and everything. So he delivers an RKO right onto the freaking announce table. He ate that shit freaking clean. Freaking props to him for that.
I'll give that to him. 18-year-old, well, he just turned 20, they said too. For a 20-year-old guy taking that RKO, I'll give it to him.
Yeah, absolutely, man. The spot of this match, man, was freaking was Kevin Owens taking Orton into a pop-up powerbomb right into a fucking RKO. God, I'm telling you this right now. Randy Orton, listen, this dude has dealt with freaking neck injuries, back injuries. This dude is, I want to say, 44 years of age, and this dude still makes everything so fucking effortlessly. Like the timing and the concentration that you got to have to hit these spots. And I mean, you always knew that Orton, when it comes to RKOs at WrestleMania, you know that. I mean,
yeah, it's going to be a big.
The Seth Rollins one from WrestleMania 31. That's honestly still the best one to this
That,
day.
oh,
But you
yeah.
knew that Orton had something planned specifically for this match, and he freaking did it with the pop-up power bomb, which I thought was a really nice touch. So yeah, freaking Logan Paul, he takes advantage of finally of KO and Orton going blow to blow, head to head. He tosses freaking Orton out the ring. He hits the frog splash from the top rope, covers Kevin Owens for the 1-2-3, and Logan Paul retains his championship. Saw this coming, and this is the right call. And listen, as much as I love Orton, the dude has no business holding on to the United States Championship. He just doesn't need that shit at all. And plus, you know, for this company's sake, SummerSlam, like you said, Carl, is going to be in Cleveland. That's where Logan Paul is from. That just tells you everything that you really freaking need to know. They want Logan Paul to walk into SummerSlam as the United States champion, as he's going to. But to finish this off, man, I'm not going to once again waste any time. The right person won this match. The crowd was into it. And the interaction with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, I got to say, man, for a triple threat, and I can't stand triple threats for majority of the part. I just think there's just a lot of people that are just so out of place and just so out of touch. But for this, man, this worked. And this was damn freaking entertaining. So this match, this triple threat for the United States title, that gets a freaking good. That's 4 goods in a row. I know, guys, I'm just as baffled as everybody listening to this or watching this right now. So, Carl, man, before we go into the co-main event, your thoughts on this triple threat for the United States title?
Oh, man. First and foremost, I want to get my take on it by saying to you the same thing. I couldn't completely agree more. I'm not really too much of a fan of of triple threats. If anyone, like I'm saying, I've been a fan, of course, since '96 on to right now. Of course, my favorite of all time. If I had to point out a triple threat match, I don't like quite many at all. And I know you understand this. That me being a '90s baby and everything growing up, my favorite triple threat was always Undertaker versus The Rock versus Kurt Angle for the Undisputed Championship title. Now, that kind of gave me a thrill and loving watching that match, especially when they changed it up by doing each other's finishing moves. Now, that's something I think that probably they would have thrown that in there a little bit. It would have quite got a few gas maybe from anybody. Could you imagine seeing Kevin Owens go for an RKO on Randy and he succeeds at it? That would have kind of got a very great pop, I think, from the whole crowd if that something like that ever would have happened. Or if even Logan Paul was to go for a pump-up power bomb and it happens and it succeeds. No one would expect those quite a few things. I think they maybe kind of tossed those quite a few things aside that they could have put in there for a triple threat, or maybe using things besides the brass knuckles here and there. Of course, knowing that from Logan. But overall, I give that a great match. And me seeing that Randy doing that, that was one of those things, I'm not going to be honest, that made me jump from my bed. Oh, my God, what the hell? I always expected that. Maybe one day he'll be able to counter that pump-up powerbomb. And surely he did, right into an RKO. And that was one of the greatest things I think I've seen in triple threat so far out of all triple threats I've seen in the past year. So I would give that, of course, a great match for me to be able to say that I've saw out of things. But to me, it was greater than me seeing LA Knight and AJ go against each other. I waited for. I actually wanted to wait.
This triple threat blew that AJ Styles, and I love those two, AJ Styles and LA Knight.
Yeah, so very much.
That shit out the water. Absolutely.
Yeah, it really did.
Continue.
I was actually waiting for that match to be over. Hate to say, for the triple threat to begin.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. It definitely, that was after what transpired with that match between LA Knight and AJ Styles. And even to the freaking the street fight to a degree, and how kind of unfortunate the ending was to the match. A spark needed to be added, and that was a really good spark to kind of get Philadelphia a little bit more juice and a little bit more life into it. So but look, I know a lot of people are not a fan of Logan Paul. Again, shout out to my co-host Brian. I know he's not the biggest fan of Logan Paul at all, but this dude, man, this dude is legit, for such a short amount of time, man, this dude has got this wrestling shit down.
Yeah,
And it's really freaking good. And again, he mistimed the buckshot, but listen, mistakes happen. And listen, when you're in with professionals like KO and Randy Orton, they're going to make you look like a freaking $1,000,000. So this was
I hate to throw it out there, even upon that, like you're saying about with Brian and anything about with Logan Paul. But man, listen, that just may be coming from me as being a hometown favorite. Of course, like I'm saying, like right now, but I also want to to me, I would give him that credit in doing things as such. And I never got to talk about that on the subject to anybody about that. Like, you can't completely forget about what he did for Rey Mysterio, because I don't think Rey Mysterio would be in WrestleMania right now if it weren't for Logan Paul trying to do what he did and not making sure his career didn't end by catching him like how he did. So, like, to me, I always thought about that. Like, man, ever since he's done that, like, I see this guy's kind of like trying to get things down to a T, and especially what he did with the. I really like the angles that Logan was doing along with him and Ricochet too at the moment. A whole lot. So it really got me the ball rolling of like, oh, this guy's trying to really like keep going and going with this and knows what he's doing. He's gonna learn his mistakes here and there. He's gonna have quite a few bumps like that, and him doing the buckshot area where he's gonna miss here and there. But hey, I hate to say it. He's doing that thing quite a few better than a certain cowboy I don't want to mention, but
right.
That he's gonna miss quite a few of them, but mostly all the time he's getting that right on spot.
Absolutely.
And that frog splash, I can't. That frog splash is something unique to me. I don't see anyone like trying to prevail that and do that like he does. Besides Rhea, it's like I'm looking at her and Logan's frog splashes, they're kind of like similar a little bit in a way.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, with Rhea doing the frog splash, like I get it because like, she's, quote unquote with Dirty Dom, with Dominic Mysterio, and like Dominic, he does his praise to Eddie. It's just like, the thing is with the frog splash and doing your tribute to Eddie, like you can do your tribute and you can do your, your praises to Eddie Guerrero, but like not everybody needs to do a fucking frog splash. Man. Like Rhea doing the frog splash, it's just like we need to chill out with that in regards to listen, you can pay your respects to Eddie and everything, but like Rhea doing the frog splash and everyone else doing the frog splash, like it's just like I don't know, man. It's just that just kind of it's a bad taste.
I give the total respect to that to like the Dom to Ray to Logan,
like Dominic, like people like Dominic, people like Ray, people like freaking Andrade or like that makes sense.
Even Seth's frog splash to me is one of my personal best favorites right now at the moment. Like it's like, man, it's kind of like getting cliche really to me. Like
it's not even just the frog splash. It's more of just like because Rhea's done it. Like she does like the freaking. The Viva, freaking, Eddie Guerrero shit. Like that makes more sense for people like Ray, for people like Dominic, for people like, what I'm saying? Like Lucha Libre type of shtick. Like everybody needs to freaking, blow that out the freaking water and ram it down your throat, if that makes sense. But moving on, but trying to get back on track here, man. This was for a triple threat match, man. This was damn entertaining. Logan Paul deserves his flowers. Randy Orton continues to earn his flowers. And Kevin Owens, I mean, he took the pinfall, but they weren't going to have Orton take the pinfall. If he wasn't going to win the match, Orton was not going to take the pinfall in this match. So, yeah, once again, man, 4 in the good, and so far none in the bad and none in the ugly. So we got 2 more matchups. Things would have to go completely off the fucking rails for these tallies to go in an opposite direction. But let's see as we go into our co-main event of the night. This was the ladies. This was your champion, Iyo Sky, versus your challenger, Bayley. This matchup in length was 14 minutes. 14 minutes, this matchup. And I could have watched these ladies go for freaking 20 freaking minutes. That's how damn freaking good these 2 ladies were in this freaking matchup. I mean, it's freaking Iyo Sky, who's arguably one of the best wrestlers on the freaking planet right now. And then there's Bayley, who you guys know it's freaking Bayley. I need I say more in regards to it? So this was a damn good match, man. And it sucks that they couldn't at least open up the show and dare I say main event one of these 2 nights, because Bayley did win the Royal Rumble. I said about this last year about Rhea and how Rhea won the Royal Rumble and she didn't get to main event. But the thing is with Rhea and freaking Charlotte last year, it's like that. There was no story being told. They did nothing with those 2.
Yeah,
at least with these 2 ladies, right? Regardless if you want to say, how weird the turn has been in regards to Bayley and how just everything did happen so quick with how Damage Control turned on Bayley and how Bayley just challenged Iyo Sky and we had this matchup and how everything happened so quick and how we just went from planting seeds and all of a sudden like we throw the turn and everything else at you. It just happened so quickly. Like things were going it was going nice and slow, but just too slow to a degree. But for the most part, it's been very consistent to a degree. And it sucks for Iyo Sky because she's so damn good and she proved it in this match and how this title reign has, dare I say, been a dud for the most part. She's had good matches in her tenure with this title, but outside of this whole feud with Bayley, there's been nothing memorable about this title reign from Iyo Sky, which is unfortunate. But let me get into this match here, man. This was just a damn solid freaking good match, as I freaking knew it would be, which is why I praised this match to either, if it's not going to main event, it should open up the show. But now you know why it didn't freaking open up the show with the fucking cash in. So it is what it is, man. I'm not going to freaking hammer that any more than it needs to be. But this was a damn good match, man, back and forth. The best thing in this match was how Iyo Sky countered the fucking Rose Plant. She counters the Rose Plant face first and onto her fucking feet. And then that was just textbook beautifully. And then Bayley hits the clothesline. She hits the Bayley to back suplex. She goes up to the top rope, delivers the Macho Man elbow, hits the Rose Plant for good measure. Freaking Iyo Sky sold the fuck out of that beautifully. And Bayley pins Iyo Sky 1, 2, 3 and wins the title. Bayley is your new women's champion. Frickin' Carl, I'll have you start and I'll give my thoughts on it, man. I'll have you start this off. Your thoughts on Bayley winning this title and your overall thoughts on Bayley versus Iyo Sky in this match.
Oh man, buddy. Of course, I know personally, I'm just gonna throw my opinion. I know everyone has their own takes on things. I'm just gonna say this because of me, especially like us without having a crowd and everything we've been through the pandemic era. I wanted to say something that I got heard through the press conference because you know how much the press conference is. They pinpointed out the fact that, and Bayley said it herself. She said, "Thank you to you guys that have been dealing with me over the pandemic era and hearing my crazy voice over with everyone with no crowd and hearing me call Michael Cole a stupid idiot all the time and everything else." And ever since then, I've, of course, been a fan favorite of Bayley all the time. Like, she's this. I really love, like, her personal, to me. I love the Rose Plant. I was always, of course, used to the Bayley to Belly, and I don't know. I guess that's kind of her thing when she switched and did that over. Iyo Sky, I think she's amazing. I love her moonsault perfectly, how she does that all the time, and so crisp on timing with that. And to me, it's towards leaning. I don't want to say kind of comparing it to how things are with the bloodline, but Roman's always talked about how he's put his cousins and his families on and everything else, and everyone doing their segments and everything else, and including even Sami Zayn. I feel like, of course, Bayley's done that in the way of Damage Control. She's put everybody on in the place of many of them having the tag titles, the world title, to things that her winning the Royal Rumble and her having the group in control. And now with the segment with them, with her splitting apart and things like that, I've also heard on a rumor because of, besides the factor of Rhea and things, they were saying things about people didn't really want to see like Bayley and Rhea go at it, and which was, I hate to say, which was another thing, part of Roman, and like Triple H talked about it, about things that he had to do with the segment of going on between Cody, Roman, and the Rock and thing. He said they had to call an audible on that situation of things going on in that sort, and that's something that they also had to do in the women's match. He said, you know what? I think everyone would rather see Rhea and Becky go at it and see Bayley in this tension that she has between Damage Control and everything's coming out of it. And I loved it, of course. Like I've always loved her doing that Macho Randy freaking elbow always from the top rope. I always loved it. So
Kairi Sane does the best though. As much as I love Bayley, freaking Kairi Sane does the best for sure, man. So yeah, but continue.
Yeah. I won't get. I will not pinpoint you on that. It's yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. It's neck and neck with the elbow. How they're doing things like that. And yeah, I would. Yeah, I would definitely give it to her on that for sure. And yeah, I would say that was a great match to me. Great match to me. It kind of reminded me of the old days of Trish and Lita going at it between back and forth because you got like a great high flyer of a uniqueness of Iyo, and I would compare her to a woman like Lita. And then you got Trish in the rugged and how she was to compared to a person like that, like how Bayley, how she was, with things like that. So that kind of perfected a good match to me to watch. That was great.
Yeah, and Bayley had a nice little entrance too. I believe she was like some type of like Egyptian type of queen or
Like
something like that, or
like
like
a Egyptian pharaoh kind of thing, going on there.
Yeah, it was nice little entrance, nice little touch there in regards to it. There was a bunch of good entrances too. Freaking Drew McIntyre had a decent little entrance there. We talked about Seth's freaking entrance. Again, that was just I don't know what the fuck.
That out to people like to pinpoint, of course, like for me, like I said, me being the old school type of guy, like a lot of people, of course, should recognize that, like, dude, the freaking bagpipes tribute of freaking Rowdy Piper just took me off the map when he did that. Like, I'm like, dude, I instantly had a flashback thinking like, oh, I keep a God bless his soul, but it had me of that feeling of, oh my God, Rowdy Piper's gonna walk out. It's fucking WrestleMania. Oh no, it's Drew. I keep forgetting he's this fucking Scottish psychopath that you all fucking love everybody so much. Oh yeah, he's got that image of, hey, don't forget about me and me and these bagpipes, and don't forget about my kilt and how the hell I am. And so it was quite a few entrances I love. Quite a few entrances I didn't like, but me personally, like quite a few other fans, we were hoping for Broken Dreams, but it didn't happen. But hey, I'll always love that entrance of Drew, but hey, they didn't have Broken Dreams, unfortunately. But we always thought maybe that would come out because of this. You got him, of course, in this.
You could see that for Clash at the Castle coming in June because it's going to be. I mean, you could see that then. So who knows? Who knows? But that's fair enough. But fair enough in regards to much love to Roddy Piper. Freaking rest in peace to Roddy Piper. But look, man, I don't think I've revealed my tally yet, but you guys can see it right there. That's also, once again, going to go into the freaking good column, man. Again, freaking these ladies would have went 10, 20 plus minutes, and I would have been A-okay with it, as I'm sure a lot of freaking people would have been. And that is a pure example of why I wanted these ladies either to main event, potentially, but I get it. It's The Rock, the Bloodline, Cody. You've got to put, you have to put The Rock in that type of spot when it comes, especially the way The Rock has been freaking elevating and carrying the build of WrestleMania up until this point. I've spoken heavily about that. But yeah, to finish off Bayley and Iyo Sky, just really good stuff. Again, Bayley, we'll see what she does with that freaking title in regards to what she's going to be involved in now. It depends on this is the first time that Bayley has now held this title or held a championship of some sort since pretty much the pandemic era. But since then, she's dealt with a lot of nagging injuries since then. So it's going to be interesting how things play out to that degree, but Bayley had to win this match. We all know that. Everybody, I'm sure, was happy with this result. Bayley got a beautiful moment. The crowd was into it, had a nice little pop and everything. And yeah, man, just can't really say nothing else less about either of these two ladies, as well as much love to Iyo Sky. And yeah, we'll see how that goes forward. All righty. Now it is time for your main event of WrestleMania Night 2. Ladies and gentlemen, this was your champion, your tribal chief, your head of the table, the man that has now held this championship for 1,316 days.
Throw him up.
Versus your challenger, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes' entrance, pretty darn badass. He had frickin' his beautiful wife, Brandy Rhodes, beside of him. So good to see Brandy Rhodes. And then you had Roman Reigns and his great entrance as well. So after the grand entrances, the face-to-face, we get into this match, man. This total time for this matchup was 33 minutes in length with this match. So yeah, like you said, Carl, about the Cody Cutter spot, a lot of big Cody Cutter spots. Even frickin' Roman Reigns delivered a crossroads. He delivers a crossroads to freaking Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes hits it flush, and freaking Roman Reigns actually did this freaking maneuver pretty darn freaking well. He hits the crossroads and everything. Bunch of power moves and stuff later. Again, you got Paul Heyman that's at ringside, but again, much love to freaking Roman Reigns. Again, the guy's in the best freaking shape of his freaking life. So Roman Reigns looks great. Again, the entrance and everything for Cody looks great. This was definitely a big fight feel, and I'll speak more about that and everything later on. However, later on in this match, we got the Usos. So this is Bloodline rules, right? So now you get the first Bloodline member, which is Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso attacks freaking Cody Rhodes from behind. And then you got the twin brother, that's freaking Jay. Jay waltzed down to the ring. Freaking Jimmy meets him halfway up the rampway. They start to brawl up the rampway, and they go freaking flying off the freaking rampway and threw a freaking table spot onto the outside. That spot was more fucking cooler than what they did in their entire fucking match in freaking night one. So freaking really good little spot there. And yeah, Carl, I'll get to your thoughts in just a second. I'll explain this match and I'll get to your thoughts because I know you got a lot to say as well. But they do that table spot. Solo Sikoa is the next one. So you can see what they're doing. They're sending each member of the bloodline out one by one. First it was Jimmy. He gets taken out by Jay. And now you have Solo Sikoa. So Solo Sikoa is taking out freaking Cody Rhodes. He lays him out with the Samoan spike. He tries to hit the trio crossroads, kind of like from WrestleMania 39. And then that's where the spot comes into where freaking Solo, just like last year, spikes him. Freaking puts Roman Reigns over on top of him. Cody Rhodes kicks out, and freaking Solo's face is there. Everything you need to know. They then hit a combo of both the Samoan spike and the spear. Cody Rhodes still freaking kicks out of it. And now freaking Solo and Roman, they've had enough. Like, they're like, listen, like, we've given everything. We've thrown the kitchen sink at this motherfucker. And this dude doesn't freaking want to stay down, right? So freaking Solo, he's trying to freaking get this dude up. He's trying to help out Roman Reigns getting up. And all of a sudden, John Cena's music hits. John Cena's music hits. He runs down the rampway to take out Solo Sikoa. I believe he hit an AA to Solo Sikoa through the announce table, through the Spanish announce table. And there's a nice little touch. I mean, last time you saw Cena, he got taken out by Solo Sikoa. He took out Mr. 0-34, as I like to call Solo Sikoa now. That's his record ever since he freaking defeated John Cena. Just want to throw that out there. So Cena sends Solo through the announce table, and then out comes the final boss, which is The Rock. The Rock walks down. He is not happy of what's going down right now in this match. Comes face to face with John Cena. A little bit of nostalgia from freaking, I want to say it was WrestleMania 28 when they had that once in a lifetime match, and WrestleMania 29 as well. Thank you, Carl. And they had an intense face to face for a couple seconds. Freaking Cena wanted to deliver a punch. Freaking Rock counters it, hits the freaking rock bottom, and then all of a sudden, right, freaking The Rock takes out that Mama Rhodes belt, and now freaking Cody Rhodes is about to get it, and all of a sudden, The Undertaker fucking appears, and I'm like, what in the actual fuck is going on? And listen, man, this shit was over. Was this overbooked? Yes. Was this freaking off the rails? Yes. But you know what? It's the professional wrestling that I freaking grew up loving, man. This is moments, Carl, in a match to where you will fucking remember. You're going to remember John Cena waltzing down to the ring. You're going to remember the Rock and Cena face to face, and you're going to remember the Undertaker grabbing freaking The Rock by the throat and choke slamming his ass down the freaking mat, as well as Undertaker is gone. Before that, you had the Shields music hit. And freaking people are going berserk. People think that freaking Jon Moxley is about to come through the fucking crowd. Who the fuck knows, right? But yet it's Seth Rollins. Roman Reigns ends up, he saves freaking The Rock by hitting a Superman punch to Seth. Seth's decked out in the freaking Shield attire, but he gets decked by freaking Roman with the Superman punch, and that's when you got The Rock Undertaker to come out and hit the choke slam to The Rock. Now everybody's taken out, and now it's back to just being between Cody and Roman Reigns, right? So Roman gets to his feet. He sees that steel chair, And now Roman is at a crossroads here. And this is what I fucking loved about this match, Carl. You ready for this? I freaking love this, and I posted this on social media. Roman Reigns has this chair, right? This is where he finally puts the nail in freaking Cody Rhodes' coffin. But then he looks over to Seth Rollins, and Rollins is slow to get up, right? He's slow to get up. He's decked in the Shield attire. So freaking Roman Reigns has a freaking choice to make. Do I take out freaking Cody Rhodes and defend my title and finish him off? Or do I want to freaking release this grudge that I've held for 10 freaking plus years and take freaking Seth out the way he took me out 10 plus years ago and freaking wham, he freaking waltz freaking Seth Rollins over the back with that freaking chair. Fucking love that shit, man. That was freaking awesome on how that entire situation spoke volumes on how Roman Reigns, that little moment right there, costs him this freaking match. As soon as he does that shit, Cody Rhodes, he counters, or he grabs Roman Reigns from behind, hits not one crossroads, not two crossroads, but 3 freaking crossroads for the 1, for the 2, and for the 3. And Cody Rhodes, ladies and gentlemen, is your new, no longer undisputed Universal Champion. He is now legit now. The WWE Champion is now is what WWE is now calling it as such. And yeah, guys, Cody Rhodes fucking finally has finished his goddamn freaking story. You got everybody coming out. You got CM Punk. You got freaking Randy Orton. You got Kevin Owens. You got Sami Zayn. You got all of these people from the past that have had problems with the bloodline. LA Knight, The Undertaker, John Cena, all of these people to celebrate with the one guy that was able to finally take down Roman Reigns. And that is Cody Rhodes. As Cody Rhodes finally has finished this story, she celebrates with Brandy Rhodes. He freaking Roman Reigns is taken out. He thanks Seth Rollins after the match. They really let this really drawn out, and this really made you feel like this was the end of an era. This is the end of the bloodline era, as you call it. And this really just made this very special. They let this drawn out. Everybody's celebrating. Freaking Cody Rhodes is in tears with Mama Rhodes as well. She's hugging and kissing Mama Rhodes. And Cody Rhodes is left standing after he was hugging and kissing Triple H as well. He invited Triple H to the ring afterwards. And Roman Reigns is there. Freaking Michael Cole on commentary is crying. And Cody Rhodes is up in arms with that beautiful title around his waist. And yep, Cody Rhodes. It wasn't last year, but he got it done this year as Cody Rhodes defeats Roman Reigns and has defeated Roman Reigns' streak. His title reign, which was 1,316 days, has officially come to an end. And Cody Rhodes' story has been finished. Before I go any further, Carl, with all that being said, because that was a lot, your thoughts on this main event?
You couldn't have detailed everything so perfectly, buddy. For me, my first take off of everything to be able to say to you about this match, my first thoughts of everything was, I was always told, of course, I don't want to pinpoint it out to you today, when I was always told about that next year it's supposed to be WrestleMania 41. It was supposed to be Rock versus Roman if he retained the title. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen. Everyone wanted to see Cody finish his story. I personally didn't think he was going to win after what happened last year. I didn't expect fully everything to happen like how it happened right now, that whole entire moment. But me watching the match, consistently I'm thinking something's bound to happen because of, especially after him kicking out of the spike and the spear combination, and you guys doing everything under the freaking sun, like you said, trying to throw the even freaking kitchen sink if you can at Cody. He's kicking out of everything, and out comes John. I said, you know what? Of course, John is coming back out for revenge. You guys should have known that, you know, you want to put it towards your bloodline rules. Well, to me, in the back of my mind, of course, I'm thinking as someone that's a fan and been watching the show, and all of us, of course, everyone is going to get their lick in that happened towards anything to them in the bloodline involved. Now, with the Undertaker coming back and involved, to me, that was just complete nostalgia.
Yeah.
I know everyone always wanted this to happen.
I will say, so I believe that spot was also supposed to be for Stone Cold Steve Austin. They
Steve
were trying to
Austin.
get Stone
Yeah.
Cold Steve Austin because the whole freaking production truck spot with freaking The Rock was taking out Cody Rhodes. It had John Cena and Stone Cold's face on it. And then from what I heard, they couldn't get Stone Cold to be a part of the event. So, and Undertaker, he's backstage with these full-time talents. So he's always usually there backstage with Triple H and others. So the audible was Undertaker, but that didn't take away from how great the freaking interactions and everything
were. Exactly, bro. I wanted to get you on that point and say that too. Of course, like my brother and his friend, like I told you, like after I got done watching press conferences and everything, I had them watch the highlights and everything for me watching Mania. And one of my brother's best friend that is very close with it, cool with, he was like, man, after I told him about everything that happened and, involved The Rock and Taker and everything, he's like, man, I wish it was Stone Cold to come out. He's cracking imaginary beers in my kitchen and with his hands, like drinking. I'm like, dude, Stone Cold was supposed to be the one filling in for that spot, but they, of course, like they done, I said, this whole week of extravaganza of WrestleMania, this whole entire 2 weeks, for real. I just said, be honest, like, dude, I said they had to call an audible on a lot of things, and I said that was one of the things they had to call an audible of. Oh, wait, who do we have? Of course, that's a pure legend, of course, that we have on the line, and they, belong, behold, The Undertaker. I said, of course, and big shout outs to him because I've just gotten a mix of Beyond You, of course, lovable to you, my brother. You, of course, have to praise you. You and The Undertaker are the only ones whose videos I watched the whole entire time on this lovely podcast. So you and Taker are the ones I watched, and I'm like, I didn't expect Taker to be able to come out with him being busy and doing things like that in his podcast and here and there with people and things involved. I surely think that he's watching Mania. I didn't think he was going to be involved. That blew me out of the mind. Me, especially as a fan of how I am and grew up with everything with the Hole and Shield, that was pure poetry with me seeing Roman slash that table across the back of Steph. I said, the moment I saw it, I thought I was just, like I said to you, like it just seemed like a whole movie with them, damn near almost taking up an hour, but it's like great. I'm in the back of my mind thinking like, man, this match better be great. This match is 10 times better thought than I thought it would be. And in the back of my mind, when I'm watching it, like I just said, I feel like I'm watching a movie. And then that moment just came when he slashed that chair across his back. I said, oh my God. I swear to God, the first word I said to myself was, oh my God, this is fucking poetry. I swear to God, that's the first word I said, this is fucking poetry. This is something that someone has been dying to see that I'm glad. I'm pretty sure Triple H is behind it and brought it back. It's like that because people, he doesn't want to forget about things like that. And that's something that I'm glad that they did and everything with Seth and that movement. They don't want people to forget about factions, of course, great like the Shield. So with that happening, but I feel like it was kind of like, I'm going to say like too bad on that, but when he did the Superman punch with Seth in that chair, I feel like they should have gave Seth a chance to try and everything. Some people, of course, on comments, so I've been talking to some friends of mine, they said, they figure like Rock probably got traumatized and thought about his bad days, about him being powerbombed from the Shield. So with that happening with the chair and him seeing Seth, they kind of got to him. People say, I said, yeah, you couldn't create more poetry than that. Nobody can't forget about the fact that The Rock got powerbombed by the Shield. He is one of many legends that got powerbombed by the Shield. You can't forget about that. And he saw like a traumatized moment to, oh my God. They said, thankfully, Roman saved you. He never would have thought about that. Like, then people in the back of my mind thinking, of course, they're family, they're cousins, but yeah, you were along with those guys that triple powerbombed me and cost me things with Punk and things they was doing, and still got to be able to get the trouble. But things that they were doing, people say he saw like traumatized, and that's when it just kicked into me like, wow, man, I'm feel like I'm freaking watching a movie right now with this, and it was like over and out for that. Yeah, I think that was the greatest match out of all the matches of night 2. But besides that, of course, I think that and the triple threat was great. And everything with the cash in and was kind of, but yeah, I'm waiting to see what they're going to do with Damian. But overall, yeah, I wonder if they're going to do something like that, continue now with maybe bringing Undertaker to the ring or anything like you guys are doing right now with The Rock, So but I don't know if he's really that obtained. I hated, to be honestly, personally, for me, like, of course, I hated what happened with the angle of Goldberg and Taker. So I don't know if he's capable of still trying to maneuver in the ring. I don't know what's going on with that. And then I recently seen that too, which I love freaking Bray Wyatt, the heart to heart. You know, and like I've explained to you, but I did not like the match of Goldberg in between Wyatt neither. So I don't know. To me, he's very uncoordinated. So, but despite that, I'm glad I got to see Taker in the ring. I haven't saw him really, of course, since then. That's the last time I saw Taker personally, besides seeing him at Crown Jewel with him and Shawn and with Shawn and Triple H versus him and Kane. Other than that, like I thought it was completely done after the Goldberg situation, you know. And so him seeing them, that completely gave me like chills of seeing back again, of course, when everyone got to see between the reaction of Taker and Braun Breaker. But it's like, man, Undertaker's a freaking legend. You got to realize, of course, the Rock is a legend. So it took me, of course, back to me fucking watching TV in my fucking living room at 1999. So it took me back to, oh my God, I can't believe I stood more at the Rock and Taker looking at each other than him and Cena looking at each other. Me seeing the Rock and Cena, it took me back to me being 21, 20. Me seeing Taker and the Rock took me back to 13, 12 years old. So I loved seeing both segments of that going on. Everything so much in that match was just pure. I think night two was the cake, and I think night two was the icing on it. I think night one was the cake, and night two was the icing on it, and putting the candles and lighting it on fire. That's what night was. Night one was just baking the cake. Night two was putting the candles and the icing. Light this motherfucker up.
Yeah, no, I mean, people state that night two was better than night one, and there's an argument for it, and I'm just as shocked as anybody because, like I said at the top of this show, night one has been the one that has been overdoing night two with these WrestleMania both night one and night two events. So, but now this year it's a completely different scenario, and kind of going back into this main event. And the ending of this, as you see how they're making this moment for Cody, not just a big deal. And listen, I state with what I said about last year and how you will never get that moment of what you could have gotten last year. This was at least this could come somewhat close of what could have happened for freaking last year. Because what you could have gotten last year, like that's done. It's just not at that same aura or what it could have been last year. It just could have been. It's funny, like we always talk about like passing of the torch, right? It's the passing of the torch to this person or this person, this wrestler. I don't really, for this scenario, man, this felt like more of just the torch between different eras. You see Rock and you see John Cena and The Undertaker, everybody in that ring with mixed eras. And I mean, it's funny how they kept emphasizing, oh, this is a new era of WWE. It really is, because this is legit the first WrestleMania that has nothing to do with Vince McMahon or his name in general at all. But here's the thing, though, Carl, is that if this is a new era, right? This was great. This entire weekend was freaking tremendous. I couldn't have asked for a better WrestleMania freaking weekend, even though the writing was on the wall with Cody Rhodes in this championship, especially after night one. You saw the camera shot of him in the middle of the ring, and you knew it was kind of evident that there ain't no way after he got pinned by The Rock, he was going to get pinned by Roman the night after. It just wasn't going to happen. That was pretty evident at that point, even though I had my thoughts about
me too. I did
still retaining this championship because of Hulk Hogan's title reign, and all of that was going to happen. Rock and Roman was supposed to happen. The audible was called. People turned on The Rock, and The Rock said, well, shit, let's freaking get Cody Rhodes over and let's have him win this title and make it feel maybe not at 39, but just as special as it should be. And that's what it was at the end of the day. So big, and don't be shocked, and because Rock hold his head, his end of the bargain, right? He held his end of the bargain, but Roman Reigns did not do his part. And that's how I'm sure you're going to get this dissension, this tension with Roman Reigns and The Rock moving forward, going into most likely next year's WrestleMania, as those two are going to now butt hits. And now finally, what we should have gotten last year is now going to happen in freaking this year. So Yeah, man. Listen, if this is going to be a new era, right? And I know Brian, shout out once again to Brian Thomas. You know, he stated how
Sure.
WWE is in such a good place, and they are in a good place. And shout out to Nick Khan, because not a lot of people give people like Nick Khan and what he does behind the scenes. People want to give Triple H all of this credit, and he does deserve a lot of credit, right? Just because I bash Triple H and I feel a certain type of way about Triple H, that does not mean I will not give him kudos when it is deserved, and deserve just to give him kudos, period.